What's up, everybody? Welcome to Cool Sports Guy. We're here going to talk about a lot of great things today. We're trying to get ready here. I know the Astros game is on pretty soon here locally, so we're going to touch on a few topics. Me and Tom will be on the air here shortly. So we're talking about Joe Flacco getting traded to the Jets. A lot of great stuff. Cam Newton, is he an option out there? A lot of teams looking for quarterbacks. Cardinals, can they go undefeated? Ravens and the Bengals game, that was a wonderful thriller right there. Chiefs, how their situation can unfold. Browns playing really well with a backup quarterback. Let's see who else. The Raiders taking on the Eagles, doing really well. And what else? And the Colts. So a lot of great stuff and everything. And without further ado, I'm going to bring Tom in to share the screen. Hey, Tom, how's it going?
It's going. It's
Awesome.
going. Had a fun weekend of football, and I'm ready for more.
Yep, absolutely.
It's hard to believe we're almost halfway through the season. That still hasn't sunk in to me. I'm like, we're a couple weeks in. Still a long way to go. Teams are still shaping up. Nope, not at all the case.
It's like, it's okay, team. We're only 1-6 right now. We can still around. I was just going over everything with everybody watching, everybody that's here. So a lot of great stuff going on right now, like you said. So without further ado, I'm going to open up with the first topic of the day. I know big stuff coming out of Philly and New York. New York Football Jets trading for Joe Flacco, Joe Flacco going to the Jets, basically. So how do you feel about that situation? I'm gonna give you the full screen so you can.
How do I feel about? I don't know how to feel about the situation. I'm not really sure what the purpose of the trade is. I don't think it makes any sense to me. I mean, Joe Flacco played for the Ravens. He did a pretty solid job, I would say, overall throughout his career. And then eventually in 2012, they went 10-6, went to the playoffs. As we know, they won a couple of playoffs games. They went to the Super Bowl. They played the San Francisco 49ers, and they won the Super Bowl. And then after that, it was pretty much downhill from there. They had a bad season, and then they had another 10-6 season. But, just looking at Joe Flacco's record here, I have it written down. Starting with 2016, they went 8-8, and then 9-7, 4-5. And then he got benched for our new guy, Lamar Jackson. And then he went to Denver and had 8 starts, went 2-6, went to the Jets, had 4 starts, 0-4. And then he went to the Eagles to be more like a mentor to Jalen Hurts, and I don't know what exactly he did over there. And now the Jets are bringing him back, and I don't quite frankly understand why or for what they're bringing him back. Like, are you bringing him back because you need a quarterback right now because your current quarterback is hurt? Well, I mean, is Joe Flacco really the answer to that? Because Joe Flacco's record clearly shows that Joe Flacco should not be starting a football game right now. Are you bringing him in as just a mentor? Is bringing in Joe Flacco worth a 6th-round pick? I mean, it's a 6th-round pick. I get it. But, overall, considering the fact that Joe Flacco was just with the Jets in 2020, started 4 games and lost all 4 games, I don't know in what sense it just makes sense to go, oh, yeah, let's just bring this guy back and see how it goes. So as far as how I feel about it, I'm kind of confused about why they're doing this. I don't know what the means of, this trade is. The Jets have won 1 game so far, and even if Flacco comes in, instead of going probably 2-15 in the season, you might go 4-13. Congratulations. Like, you just lost another, number 1 pick or number 2 pick of the season, just like you screwed it up last year. Besides that, I don't see a purpose to bringing Joe Flacco in. Don't know how you feel.
A lot to take in right there because, let's see here. I mean, like, it makes no sense, but I mean, on the other hand, too, what's Zach Wilson doing, right? He's just got the knee injury. He's going to be out, 2 to 4 weeks, which I don't even know what a PCL is, but he's got one that's sprained right now. So that's going to be costing right there. Do you hear what the conditions were for the draft pick? I mean, like what they gave up, pretty much.
I know it's a 6th-round pick, but it is a conditional. It could be a 5th round.
Right.
Yes, it's going to be performance-based, or
no? How much he plays? Not even performance-based. Just
really? Okay.
Which I kind of answered your question, like what's the use for it, right? And what they can get out of it. So if Joe Flacco plays a lot or not enough or whatever it is, it benefits Eagles obviously a little bit higher pick, not necessarily a game changer, but maybe that might be the case. So they're 1-5 right now, slightly better record than the Dolphins, and the next 4 weeks are not looking really fun for them. They got what? Bengals, Colts, Bills, and then they take on the Dolphins. So that might be another win right now. With the Dolphins are 1-6. They're only 1-5 right now because they had a bye week, so they could easily be 1-6, right?
Yeah, and so, I just and if you're just bringing in a quarterback just to play because your current quarterback is hurt, if you're willing to bring someone like Joe Flacco, and again, no disrespect to Joe Flacco, he was great in his prime. He had one of the best QBRs in playoffs history. When the year they went to the Super Bowl. So, he did great in his prime. Nothing to take away from that. But in his current situation, I don't even think he's worth a trade. I think there are quarterbacks out there that you can just bring in. I know we're going to get to this later and maybe talk about it a little bit. But one of the teams that I was probably going to mention at this point just to bring in and try out is Cam Newton. I mean, I'm not even a big Cam Newton fan, but, I would take him over Joe Flacco right now. That's for sure. Cam Newton was playing games last year. This guy, he again played 4 and lost 4, but yeah, it's just Jets being Jets. I don't think it's just every decision they make, it's just below mediocre, and nothing comes out of it ever.
Right. I mean, what are their options right now? They're not playing to make a playoff spot, and Zach Wilson wasn't going to be the answer. We all knew that. I mean, as good as he would play out, there was no way he could be the game changer for the Jets. So
yeah,
we both agree. I don't know how long. I don't know how long Flacco will be there. If it's just for those 4 weeks, and then we go back to Zach Wilson experiment and see how long he can take on that. Even after that, I mean, has a couple games. Texans, Dolphins, Texans right back to back. So those might be good. Maybe those are Zach Wilson games that he can pull out. After that, you got Eagles, Saints. I mean, Bucks and Bills to finish the season. So it's going to be a rough outing and everything. But we'll see how the Jets can pull off whatever they're trying to pull off. I don't know. You get Joe Flacco to go to a playoff spot. When you're 1-5 in that division, there's really no upside for that. But
yeah, I mean, you're not right now. You're not even, unless Joe Flacco comes in and just lights it up, you're not even looking at a wild card spot.
I mean, he's been known to make some passes. He did pretty well filling in. When was he there? Last year, year before that? I forget what year. I know he used to be a Jet. So
yeah, 2020. That's what I'm saying. He started 4 games
last year, right?
All 4 of them.
Gotcha. So I mean, he can do good, but he can't do for a full game. So
yeah,
we'll see how maybe he can finish the game now and finish his career as a Jets. That's spelled right. Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure I spelled it right. Yes. Anyways,
we're changing it. And next year it's going to be JETZZ.
Z. And then get expelled from the spelling bee, and then that'll be bad. So, all right. And then talking about Cam Newton, yeah. So Cam's Cam. There's a lot of teams that could definitely use him right now, but he's not. He's not there. So I don't know. There's something that we don't know about on the behind the scenes or what it is, but you can play, right? That would be one of the good teams right now you can go to, Jets.
Yeah.
I don't know about. I mean, Geno Smith. He's showing out pretty good in Seattle right now. He's doing. They're not winning, but he's showing some promise, and he won't be there for very long. I think Russell Wilson's slated to come back when a couple weeks from now. I think.
Yeah, I think it looks like he might miss about 2 or 3 more weeks, so he should be back on right after that. And I will say, it does, from the games I've seen, it does look like if Wilson was there, they would have won a couple of those games.
Yeah, absolutely.
In my opinion, Geno hasn't playing bad at all. I think I kind of dissed on Geno a little bit last week, but I think I should give him some more credit, considering that he hasn't played in a couple of years, and he was just thrown into the. I mean, Wilson's never hurt. You have a backup quarterback for typically, knock on wood, but typically when you have Russell Wilson and Tom Brady, people like that playing, the only time you hear about a backup quarterback playing is if, hey, you're up 24 points in the fourth quarter, or you're suspended for Deflategate. That's it. Besides that, your backup never plays. I have in 4 years. So, Geno Smith, a lot of credit. Is that the topic we're going to go into? Or are we going to talk about where Cam's going to go? I don't think Seattle is the best option for Cam. I think considering that Wilson can potentially come back healthy in a couple of weeks, you taking Cam over there, getting him ready, learning the system, all that, give him at least a week of time, and then he plays for 2 weeks just for if Russell Wilson comes back healthy. I think any smart coach or coordinator would probably take Cam Newton over Russell Wilson. Or I'm sorry, we'll take Russell Wilson over Cam Newton. That's just my opinion. I think Russell's more consistent. I think Russell's a better thrower of the football. I think he's more, he's just an overall better quarterback. And I do think I like Russell's leadership style more. And I don't know if you want to have both Russell Wilson and Cam Newton as, both leaders in that locker room at the same time. I mean, it's two completely different personalities, but you might, I don't necessarily know if it's going to cause a lot of troubles, but there might be a little bit of, internal issue. I don't think Russell Wilson's necessarily going to have issues, but I can see some things stirring up. So I don't think that's the best spot for him. But do you have any teams? Would you send him there?
I mean, that would be probably the best option for me. Considering all the other places. I mean, the other places that are in the mix, like for quarterback needs right now, obviously Carolina, benching Sam Darnold, right? Miami, looking for somebody to take the realm. I mean, but their eyes right now, the main storylines is Deshaun, right? I think they're coming down to the bottom line right now. So Carolina, Miami, they need a quarterback, but I don't think they would go for a guy like Cam right now. Like, especially Miami, and even Carolina. I think they're all saying good stuff about their quarterbacks because they don't want to tip their hand.
Right.
So I don't know. Seattle would be good because also the same situation like you said with Flacco coming in the Jets. Like, why rush Russell Wilson right now? They're what 1-2, 1-5, 1-4, whatever it is. Record. Their division is stacked right now. Russell Wilson, I applaud him for coming back as fast as he's trying to come back. But in the end, like, we know what happened in his offseason and how unhappy he was with the team. So why would he risk hurting that for whatever he's got next in the next book? If it is Seattle, that's fine. No big deal. He's a great quarterback. Nobody can argue that. But for him to rush that far, that's why I would think Seattle would be the best pick for him on that end. There might be other teams with quarterback needs right now, but as far as some that are like that can make anything happen, nobody's going to make anything happen. You bring in a new quarterback, you bring in Cam just for failure. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So one real quick point on Carolina. I don't think Cam Newton wants to go back to Carolina.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was where his whole career was, and then it went from MVP to losing Super Bowl. He didn't not jumping on that football for that fumble was such a big thing. And then cherry on top was him, getting up and leaving the press conference. And I was one of the ones who blamed him for that, but I got to take into consideration he was a very young, player and quarterback at the time. And then from there, I felt like his career was for the most part downhill. He was either, not playing the best football he's played, or he was just hurt half of the time. And so I don't think he necessarily would want to go back to Carolina. Now, there is teams that I would take him in. I think Texans can give him a shot. I enjoy watching Davis Mills. I think for the experience that kid has, he is doing great, right? With what he's got, almost like Geno Smith. I mean, a quarterback like him who was picked, you're not really expecting to start right away, especially on a team where technically Deshaun Watson's still there. So you get picked to the Texans, you're not going, oh, you know what? I'm going to be starting quarterback starting next season. Like, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to sit behind some quarterback who's been in the league for a couple of years, possibly, who's played the game. I want to learn from them and then hopefully start. And he was just thrown to the spot. And I think from where he's sitting, I think he's actually doing a pretty good job. But that being said, I think a team like Texans, often, especially a few games, they come so close to actually winning it, and then they just kind of blow it. I think Cam Newton might be a little better than Davis Mills. And might actually help the Texans win a couple of games. I think the Broncos are not a bad option.
No, yeah.
The Broncos team in general is actually a very good team. I just feel like for whatever reason they just can't win games. And then lastly, I do have one place, which is actually the Detroit Lions. The more I think about it, I didn't even think about that team first, but the more I think about it, I think one of the last things Dan Campbell talked about was he hoped he got some more emotion out of Jared Goff, right? Because Jared Goff, like, I mean, it's just, again, not to knock on him, but I was never the biggest fan of it. Even the year they went to the Super Bowl, I was very surprised they went to the Super Bowl because I was just like, this guy went to the Super Bowl, and then you know how that Super Bowl went, and then you know how much Sean McVay probably wanted to get rid of him. He was probably so happy to get Stafford because to him it was like the win of a lifetime. And he got to Detroit, and I think even Detroit's starting to realize why Rams were willing to give up so much just to get rid of Jared Goff. And he has no money. And Cam Newton's the exact opposite when it comes to emotion and having that energy in the locker room. And considering Detroit right now, they can probably use a quarterback like that. You might actually bring them a couple more W's than Jared Goff would, which, at this point, just one win is more than what Jared Goff has done for them. So.
And I completely underestimated the impact that Jared Goff would have in Detroit. I thought he was good for at least 2 more wins on top of what they had last year. New coach notwithstanding, obviously you can't figure out what's going to happen instead of eating people's kneecaps or whatever the strategy might be in the end. But I thought they were a better team than that. I guess Matt Stafford is the great equalizer. Like the way that they've been winning games and not having first round or first picks overall all that time. He's a great equalizer. So yeah, Goff is really being the down point on that. And as good as a team that would be, like another one where Cam would just go in to be into a bad situation. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's a no-win for him. If he just wants to play, then yeah. These teams are great choices. So
yeah, and I don't think it'll have to be a long term. I think for Cam, if he is mentally not done wanting to play football, it will be good for him to actually be at a team playing, because when you don't play for a full season, a lot of times you're kind of forgotten about. And with Cam Newton's personality, he can't be like a Geno Smith who sits behind a quarterback for 4 years without playing football. He cannot be a backup quarterback. I don't think that's in his personality.
Oh no, yeah.
I want to apologize for my.
Oh, he must disagree with you on something. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I hear you, man. Cam Newton going to.
He can't fit through the door. I'm gonna.
Okay, so Cam to. There we go. Cam Newton to any of those teams is a good option. Then we'll send them there, and move on to the next part. And obviously, Cam Newton. We won't talk about Cam Newton anymore. We'll go to the next topic with the Arizona Cardinals. I
want to apologize to our viewers.
Didn't mean to offend the pup there. Absolutely no. It's perfectly fine. Pup's gonna be pup. But maybe he was wanting us to get into the Cardinals talk. Like and see. And I want to apologize for not bringing the new banner because I just kept the Joe Flacco thing. Can Cardinals go undefeated? And man, how much I would love to see that. I don't even have to look at the rest of the schedule. Like I was gonna look at the schedule and see what they got going. Maybe they have an opportunity. There's no way. Like in this age, like the Patriots did something amazing like years back. Going all the way to the promised land and falling short against the New York football Giants. I don't think I'll ever see them in my lifetime. I would love to.
Yeah.
What would that be, like 20-0 basically? 19? Yeah, 20-0, right?
I mean, by undefeated, are we talking regular season undefeated, or we're already picking them to the Super Bowl?
Let's just talk regular season. I mean, even regular season right now would be you get that extra game.
Regular season, yeah, we're talking 17-0, and I think that's a hard thing to do. Even like the 07 Patriots, did it. But there were, I think, a couple of games where it was real close games for them too. 2015 Cam Newton's MVP season, they actually went 15-1, and that one loss came in week 14, I believe, or week 15, and it was against Atlanta. And Cam fumbled the football. Towards the very end, it was just like a 3-point game, and Like they hit him and he fumbled the football. And then there was the Chiefs last year where we thought they might go undefeated, and they only lost 2 games. The last one was week 17 when they were, their 16th game of the season, where they already had number 1 seed. They didn't care about losing a game, so they benched all their starters. But the first loss was actually the Raiders, and nobody thought the Raiders were going to go into Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs, and they just did. And it was, I think it was an overtime game. I'm not 100% sure. So it's a lot of times it's like that one loss that you didn't even picture coming, that takes you out. It's not even like a big competition that takes you out. But is it possible, considering how they're playing right now, how well that team is on both sides of the football? Yes. Yeah, it is possible. Now, they do have a couple of tough games coming up. They do have the Cowboys coming up. They have the Colts coming up. They're going to play the Rams again. They got the best of the Rams last time, so the Rams are probably going to come back with the vengeance this time. They do have the 49ers, and they also have Packers this Thursday, which for Packers, not Devontae Adams, what's his number 1 receiver is out. Why can't I think of his name right now?
Devontae Adams?
Is it Devontae Adams?
Yeah, the number 1 receiver. Number 2.
Oh, yeah. I think it. Yeah. He's out, I believe. I was thinking about Cobb. I'm sorry. But I believe Devontae Adams is out.
He's got the Randall Cobb's number 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And did you know the line moved 2.5 points because of that?
Because of Devontae, yeah, I would believe it.
That's crazy. So I don't know about the Thursday, but I will say this: one, Kyler needs to stay healthy. This happened last year. He took a bad hit. He wasn't necessarily hit hard enough for him to not play all the games, but he was banged up to where, the second half of the season, he was making not the best throws. He was making more poor decisions, and it did cost him a couple of games. And I mean, besides that team overall is actually, man, they're playing great. It's hard to say they're not going to go undefeated. There's not even all these teams that I'm picking right now that I'm saying it's tough games for them. I think the closest two for me are the 49ers, because last time when the 49ers then played, it was just a 7-point game. It was a very low scoring game, and it was with Trey Lance. They didn't even have Jimmy Garoppolo start the game. And then the second one is actually the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are playing spectacular football right now, so we'll see how that goes. But if I have to pick between going undefeated and or not, I have to say they're not going to go undefeated just because of how hard it is. I think the odds are in my favor to say they will not go undefeated rather than say, yes, they're going to win 9 more games, 10 more games and not lose, in a row. So I'm gonna say no.
I mean, unless they're like Han Solo, what did he say? Never tell me the odds, right?
Yeah. Well, again, I can't pick a team in here that they're not going to be able to beat, but I'm going to bet on the odds. I'm not going to bet against the odds.
No, they can't. The other teams will come in with a mission. This is going to be another game for them, and and for other teams, it will be the game. Want to
especially towards the end, there might be teams that are fighting for that playoff spot or that home field advantage or whatever that case is. So they'll probably fight a little harder than Cardinals, especially if they're in a position where they're 14-0 or 15-0. You got 2 more games left. Everybody else is at least 2 games behind you. They might rest a couple of people.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
See how it plays out. Indeed, yeah. So I'm going to agree with you, though. I think, yes or no. I would say probably no. But let's see here. So then, what was it? Sunday? No, it was a Sunday, a noon game. Ravens versus Bengals, right? I mean, yeah, Ravens. Okay.
Boy, was I wrong on my pick.
Quite the interesting turnout, yeah. So I got to see the end of that where they were showing the Chiefs against Titans game, and then they cut to the Ravens versus Bengals. So they thought that would be a better game to show on TV. So, but Bengals showed up, keep on marching on. And so, what do you think of that game? How do you think the Ravens can bounce back or no?
I think the Ravens will bounce back. I think they always bounce back. That's been the case with the Ravens, especially with Lamar Jackson as their quarterback. My only concern, so I believe you were on the show when I talked about the Ravens a little bit a few weeks ago, and I said, hey, like don't jump the gun yet because we've seen Lamar Jackson win an MVP and Ravens go 14-2, and then just absolutely lose it in the playoffs.
Right.
And I think the more I think about this game, the Bengals are actually a very good team. I'm not trying to take anything away from the Bengals, but the Ravens actually came off of a comeback win against the Colts. And then they went and beat a really, really good Chargers team, right? They didn't just like win the game. They beat the brakes off of them. And then, so they have all the momentum on their side just to come into this game. And they're at home playing the Bengals. It's a division game. They know the importance of it. And they get demolished, right? They score 17 points. And I think the 17-point, that last touchdown that they put up came in the opening drive of the third quarter. They didn't score since, right? And to me, I'm like, hey, if I were to have that game again 2 days from now, there's a good chance the Ravens will actually win. And I think that's the problem I have with the Ravens, because it's not a problem with the quarterback. It's not a problem with the defense. It's not a problem with the running game. It's just a problem of inconsistency. And every 3 or 4 games, they have that one inconsistent game where you're just like, I don't know what the heck that was, but I hope they turn it around. But if you have, for every 4 games, if you have one bad game, guess what? At some point, maybe you'll get all the way to the Super Bowl, but even in the playoffs, you're going to lose one game.
Right.
In the playoffs, one game's all it takes. And that's what we've been seeing with the Ravens. Since Lamar Jackson started playing, they've lost, I think, 9 total games to this point, and 5 of them has been multiple-digit losses. Right? Yeah. So for a guy who's won, I don't know his exact record. I think it's like 26-8 or something like that, or 25-8 or something like that. It's a really good stat. But hey, like you're winning so many games, and you're only you've only lost 8 games. But for some reason, like when you lose half of the time, you lose bad. Even some of the games, like the Chiefs, there was a Chiefs game where it was a 1-possession game, but just looking at that game, it was garbage yards and points at the end of the game, because the Chiefs were just like already like, we're done, we're ahead, we're winning. And I think that's what's concerning me about the Ravens. So are they going to bounce back this week? I'm sure they will. Are they going to bounce back and have a really good record going, towards the end of the season? Yeah, I'm sure they will. But do I trust them to win enough to get to a Super Bowl? I unfortunately don't yet trust them to. Even last year, I understand Lamar got hurt, and that's why. But the score for the Ravens ended 17-3. And in that 17-3, Lamar Jackson threw for 168 yards, and he threw 1 interception to 0 touchdowns.
Gotcha.
So I don't like that random inconsistency from them. I think that's going to cost them. They need to figure that out and be more consistent.
You showing that? That inconsistency showing up and everything, and that's the bad part. In football, there's one game. You got playoff series in baseball. You got playoff series in basketball. And with 2 good teams, it's a 50-50. It's a toss-up between those 2 teams. So in football, you get that one chance. So maybe they should just have like a 3-game series in football. For the playoffs. That's my idea. So NFL have 3 games in 1 week to see who went. Not playing.
You know how many people are going to be injured and just like broken?
I want to see more football. I'm sorry.
You know how many more Geno Smiths are going to be taking the field by game 3?
They're already playing 60 more minutes a year. So I'm like, what's another 120 minutes? That's not going to hurt anybody except the players. No. But that's gonna cause them. That consistency needs to be there. Ball control, all the basics. Everything you hear on a week-to-week basis. And maybe if they want to, they can use my idea later on, and they can have a chance to win those series. It can happen, man. You never know. The future's bright. Okay, it's going to have robot cyborgs and everything. You've seen the commercials, so it can possibly go down. Just throwing it out there. But I think The Ravens have a good chance of bouncing back this week, though. I mean, they're playing against the Vikings. They're on 3-3. So if they need to have a bounce back game, this would be the one. They have a pretty good chance at it being that. Obviously, this season's showing us that anybody can win anytime, and the Jets can beat Titans. Anybody can beat anybody any given Sunday. So, and David, I think somebody said about David Carr being another 300 plus game. We're going to talk about that. He read our minds.
Well, that's one of our. I think we have that written down.
He meant Derek Carr, by the way, right?
Yeah, I'm sure he did. David Carr consistently.
David Carr is
about football.
David Carr is great, but we want Derek. So why don't we talk about that? Why about the Raiders? Because it was one of the topics on our list and everything. The Raiders showing out, going up against the Eagles, right?
He deleted him.
He deleted it? No, I took it off.
He put up the David Carr comment now.
He put it on. I didn't see it yet. So.
We appreciate the correction.
For baseball, oh, they're showing the game. Okay, so no worries then. We'll get going. We're actually gonna we're on pace to finish before the game starts. So you joined us just in time. So, what do you think about the Raiders and the Eagles? What do you think about that one?
So, Jose, I really wish Jared was on the show right now just so I can rub it in his face, because 2 weeks in a row when we did our picks, I picked the Raiders to win the game. And 2 weeks in a row, Jared picked against. And 2 weeks in a row, Raiders won. I think the interim head coach, Bisaccia, his name right?
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine.
Bisaccia. Sorry, I forgot his name, but I think he's doing a great job. I think John Gruden may have actually been not the best for the Raiders organization. I think the record has shown us that the last couple of years. And even a few weeks ago, when me and Jared were on the show and we were talking about it, we said, hey, like we were talking about teams that we expect to fall off after starting good. And Raiders was on both of our lists just because their history. They start good and then they just fall off. And then recently we kind of mentioned, hey, maybe John Gruden has something to do with that, because they're looking really good. Halfway through the season, they're actually looking good. 4 out of their 5 wins, they actually put up more than 30 points. So good point. There is a 300+ yard game. Yeah, because they're actually scoring. They're on top of their division right now. They play the Broncos again. They're gonna win that. They play Washington again. They play Chiefs twice, which right now I'm sure every team in the NFL wants to play the Chiefs right now, just because it's almost like borderline a guaranteed win. They also play the Giants, so that's another couple of wins for them. I think the way the Raiders are playing right now, I think they can win. I think they can do a good job. Yes, we should take them seriously. My only concern is their defense is still not necessarily. They're somewhere in the middle when it comes to just ranking in general. I think they do need to tighten that up just a little bit, just because you're not going to you're more than likely make the playoffs, especially with the way the Chiefs are playing right now. The Broncos are falling back down. Chargers beat 2-1. So you do have a shot to go beat them back, and if you do that, you'll be first in division. And they just took a bad loss last week. So you have a shot at, making the playoffs. You also have a shot at the home field advantage, at least for the first game. But beside that, if you want to beat the other teams in the AFC, your defense do need to tighten up a little bit. You can throw for 300 yards. You can throw for almost 400 yards, but that's not going to matter if the opposing team's offense is going to be able to do the same thing to you. If Derek Carr's able to run up and down the field on you, then you're going to struggle in that game. I think the Buffalo Bills are a very good team. I think you're going to struggle against them. Ravens, depending on which Ravens you get, you'll either win 40-3 or you'll lose 45-35. But yes, I think the Raiders should just be a talking point just in general, just because of how much they've shown us compared from where they were last year. Derek Carr's playing really well. Team just overall, it just seems like they're doing much better than they were last year.
I mean, I'm impressed. Even with the interim coach, I thought it would be a huge fall off, or a fall off just in general. So the fact that they're in there, showing out, is the Eagles. I get it, but still, you got to do what's in front of you. You know, you got to take care of what's in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, win's a win. It doesn't matter. I mean,
Yeah.
you at the end of the day, you're as good as your record shows, I guess. So
You're doing the work, but let's just have a moment for Derek Carr. Let's have, there he is right there, just showing out and to the fans right there. I don't know what that picture's from, but yeah, so that's him right there. We're just throwing a little love for Derek Carr on his big win, coming back from. This is their first game with the interim coach, right? Or was it last week?
They played 2 now.
This is the second week, so
yeah. No, this against the Eagles that was the second game.
Second game with the interim coach.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I think I think it might be rare, but we've seen this before. Sometimes something really bad happening in the locker room brings your team together and actually makes it stronger.
Yeah.
And I think what happened as far as with John Gruden and then him leaving may have actually made the Raiders just a little better emotionally. I know it was like probably a very emotional week for them. They took a beating from the Bears, and then he was gone, and then now look at him. So yeah, it might be interesting. Might be fun to watch.
So so let's I know usually we do like an hour show. We're getting to the last 10 minutes of the show, but I really wanted to talk about the Chiefs situation before we moved off, and everything. So how they're doing and how that's shaping up right now. Horrible game, that reduced to 3 points or reduced just brought down to 3 points, only scored, and Mahomes got beat up quite a bit on that one. I know. And I bet on him. You got my text, I bet on him almost every time. I bet on him to win this game. Not real money, but I bet on him to win it.
I have him as my fantasy quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, and why shouldn't you? He's shown us all those plays. But I think some of the stuff that I've already said too in the past, all these throws are catching up to him. People are like, they look good when it works. And then when it doesn't, it's an epic collapse, and we're seeing it unfold, play after play. He tries to make something happen. He fumbles, tries to make something happen, interception, all this other stuff happening that, yeah, when you look, when it works, it looks good, but it's a collapse right now. And who they got next week too, that he came back from concussion, right? He cleared concussion protocol.
Yeah, he did clear concussion protocol. I don't exactly remember who they're playing. I did, and then I can't.
I want to say it's coming up. Okay. So they got a good bounce back game. They're playing the Giants. So what do you need? What do you need to I would bet on him, but I'm not going to because I'm clearly bad luck. I'm the problem. So I'll stop. What do you think? Can they turn around? Can they compete in that division? Because you're only as good as your record as we've established, and they're not having a really good record right now. So
listen. I have 2 words for where the Chiefs are right now. Panic mode.
Oof. Yeah,
really should, because you went from going to the AFC Championship game, going and winning the Super Bowl, going back to the Super Bowl and losing it bad, and to having below 500, right? First few times they lost the game. Oh, they lost a very high scoring game. Defense is playing terrible. It's very concerning. At least Mahomes gives you a chance, right? Now I understand it's only been 1 game that they put up 3 points. Besides that, their offense still, from a number perspective, is doing a great job. But they're still bringing the pressure on him. There's still so many turnovers, and they're not all on him. But a lot of times when, the defense starts to play bad, and I think I've heard this, and I kind of, agree with the defense starts to play bad, and you automatically want the offense thinks, okay, we got to go score every drive, right? Then they get a little too aggressive. They try to do stuff that they probably shouldn't do, and that's when they make mistakes, right? You're trying to overdo. You're trying to overcompensate for your other part of the football team, and now the offense is struggling. And I don't know. And the offense might bounce back, and they might score, but listen, they're not making any personnel changes. But one of the things that I've noticed with the Chiefs, and I noticed this in the Super Bowl last year, and I absolutely hated about it. They played a horrendous first half, right? Went into the locker
Right.
room. Bucks are looking good. Chiefs are looking terrible. There was no adjustments made.
Nope.
There was like no adjustments made coming out of the locker room. And this isn't a first half, second half thing. From a week to week basis, it seems like the Chiefs really aren't doing anything different. They're just like, oh, we lost that game, but let's just go back and do the same exact thing we did last week. This time we'll probably, hopefully win because we're just used to winning recently. And, well, now start doing, if you're not going to make any changes, if you're not going to make any adjustments, you got to start getting used to losing. Because that Chiefs team right now, they're looking bad. And like I said, I have Mahomes on my fantasy team. There's a reason for that. So I'm not trying to just say, hey, you suck. No, I wanted him to do good. I was expecting him to do good. Even if the entire team did bad, I was expecting him to do good. But he's making so many mistakes too. Dude, when you're getting tackled, you're getting sacked, and you're going to the ground, why are you throwing the ball up in the air just to the middle of the field? What's the thought process behind that?
He's doing plays like this, man. He's doing this kind of stuff. See that?
Well, that's the thing. And, a couple of those throws, especially in that Super Bowl, that was in that Super Bowl. That was one of the greatest throws I've ever seen just because of the difficulty of the throw. And the fact that he hit that throw on target, even though they didn't catch it, he hit the dude in the face.
Nobody caught those, yeah.
I think he's probably thinking you're Superman's probably in his head. He's like, I can do whatever.
Right.
And you got to stop that. Sometimes a little mechanical error costs you the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the second thing, mainly, Chiefs, not every play has to be 30 yards down the field.
Right.
Agreed, come up with some basic plays. It's okay. People are giving so much crap to Brady at one point for dinking and dunking the football. You got to take what the defense is giving you and just find ways to move the ball down the field and just win games. That's what makes you a good quarterback. Just throwing the ball down the field 20 yards, 30 yards every play is not necessarily. It makes you look good. It makes your team look flashy. But, if your offensive line is holding the opposing defensive line to 2 seconds before they get to you, you can't wait for your players to open down the field 25 yards down the line every time. And that's how you take sacks. That's when you make bad decisions. That's when you try to throw the ball away because you don't want to get hit because it hurts a little bit. You throw interceptions, you make bad decisions, and then cherry on top, your defense sucks.
Can't do anything.
So unless the Chiefs are going to make major adjustments in their play calling and the way they're approaching the game,
it's gone.
They're done for the season. At least for the season, I think.
Right. I mean, what are you gonna?
Yeah.
Got to figure it out. Got to make adjustments quick. So we got about 5 minutes. Anything I know we didn't hit on all the topics and everything. Is there anything that stands out to you that you want to discuss in the last 5 minutes here? Anything in particular? We have the Browns quarterback situation. We also didn't talk about the Colts being a dark horse, or I think those are two right there that we didn't get to talk to. I know the game's starting here pretty soon. So what do you think? Anything you want to?
Not much. I mean, just real quick, as far as Browns quarterback situation, I was never the biggest Baker Mayfield fan, and I think the way Case Keenum played last week, and I think Case Keenum is actually a really, really good backup quarterback. Yeah. And I think Browns with their play design, with how they run their plays, their running game, their offensive line, and how their defense is playing, you don't necessarily need an all-star quarterback to do pretty well. They'll make the playoffs, and then they'll lose. And I think that's going to happen with Case Keenum or Baker Mayfield. I don't think it makes a big difference. That's where I stand on the Browns quarterback.
Isn't that amazing? I heard it today. How you take a backup quarterback, and you put him in a situation where he can be successful. He didn't do a lot. Case Keenum didn't do amazing stuff in that game, but he was consistent, and he was. The run game was there, and it wasn't Chubb or Hunt. It was their third string running back.
Yeah, it was a third string, and he had an amazing game.
Yeah, so I mean, that helped a lot too. I mean, obviously the run game providing a lot of passing opportunities for him, but there weren't crazy plays. He did what he was supposed to do, and Case Keenum, he's been a consistent player. Then I think what is it? Baker Mayfield's only supposed to be out for 2 to 4 weeks. At that point, do you rush it? Do you rush him back? And is there a quarterback controversy? I don't think there will be, but you want to make sure that Baker Mayfield comes back healthy enough that even if the season is a loss, his next season. I mean, he's going to get a good contract after that, anyways. I don't think he's gotten that.
Yeah. I don't think rushing a quarterback back is never a good idea, especially if you think that's going to be your franchise quarterback. I mean, that's just you asking for a higher risk of getting injured again, and then what's next. So especially when you have a Case Keenum and you have a good coach, a good everything around you, you can still win games throughout the season. Like let him rest.
Absolutely. You just do that. Keep him healthy. Keep Case Keenum in that position, same position, upright too, and being able to hand the ball off and let his team do the work. Most of the work for him and everything. But can he be that Band-Aid? Yeah, I think he's gonna be a good Band-Aid. Clearly, he showed that against the pretty good team.
Waterproof Band-Aid, baby. It'll stick on.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm ready for these Astros to go and win this championship series and everything. And I know we got a lot of action. So you'll be back on Friday with Jared to cover your picks for the weekend. We're going to skip that Thursday, pick.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Cardinals to win the Thursday game. I don't have Jared's pick, so that's not going to count against or towards, but that's going to be my pick. But yeah, we'll come back on Friday.
And one last thought before we leave, real quick. I would be remiss if we didn't talk about that jersey you have on and the GOAT throwing 600 touchdown pass this past weekend, and giving away to fans. But we'll talk about more of that later. But he's thrown, courtesy of Rob's stat right here. He wasn't able to be here today, but Rob's stat of the week is Tom Brady has thrown more touchdowns than 4 franchises. I don't know about combined, but 4 of them. Yeah, so pretty impressive stat, and we'll talk about it.
Well, there's hey man, the fan got a lot in return. I'll give him that.
Oh yeah, big time.
I'll take a Bitcoin.
I'll just take that. I don't need the jersey. I'll buy the jersey with the Bitcoin. So we'll definitely be talking more Tom Brady as the season progresses. He did an amazing job thus far, and they're moving on to the next challenge. So cool, man. We'll see you back here on Friday for NFL picks and for everybody. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and do an official sign off this time. And it's good chatting, man. We'll see you next time. All right.
All right. Take care. Go Astros.
For real. Yep.